There are only a few weeks until football is in full swing across the area, making it the perfect time to take a closer look at what your star player is wearing to keep their head safe. News Center 16's Tricia Hart asked for helmet information, including the make, model, and reconditioning reports from 8 high schools in our area to see if their helmets make the grade. Tricia joins us in the studio with that report.
Scientists at Virginia Tech have tried to make helmet shopping easier to understand. They tested some of the most popular helmets and rated them from best to worst. Well, we set out to find out where our high school's helmets fall on this highly talked about scale, but found that regardless of star rating, there are limitations for any helmet to protect from head injuries. Over 4 million children play tackle football each year, despite growing concerns that hard hits could result in concussions or cause long-term brain damage. But with new helmets coming out yearly, each one seemingly more expensive than the next, how is a parent to know which one is the safest for their child? Researchers at the Virginia Tech Wake Forest University School of Biomedical Engineering sought to answer that question.
Now consumers have another piece of information. Before it was all cost and appearance, and now you have some idea of the biomechanical response.
The research started in 2003, measuring the speed and direction of over 1 million head impacts on the football field. In 2014, they tested 23 football helmets, ranking them from 5 stars to NR, or not recommended. The 5-star says Virginia Tech are the best available for reducing concussions, while helmets with 1 star are only marginal.
Moving from a 1-star helmet to the better helmets, the 4- and 5-star helmets, we've published a study that shows moving from that difference reduces your risk of concussion by 50%.
Here's how some of northern Indiana's schools compare. Out of Mishawaka High School's 123 football helmets, 66 are 4-star Rydell Revolutions and Revolution IQs. 32 are 5-star Revolution Speed, and 25 helmets were not rated by this test. Concord also used all Rydell Revolution Speeds, a 5-star protector. South Bend's biggest high schools, John Adams, Clay, and Riley, used 4- and 5-star models with several non-tested models in the mix. South Bend, Washington was the only school with a handful of 3-star or good helmets, the Shet DNA.
There's always a risk of concussion, but the better helmets reduce your risk. Same thing with automobiles. People die in 5-star cars, but 5-star cars are much safer and they reduce your risk overall.
Not everyone agrees with these star ratings, including the organization charged with setting the standard nationwide for helmet safety, NOCSE.
This is a very complex subject.
David Halstead is the technical director at the Southern Impact Research Center, where they test thousands of helmets to create the NOCSE standards. He says there can never be a concussion-proof helmet.
It's the Holy Grail, and we have a lot of people selling hope.
Hope that a 5-star will somehow make a player invincible.
It's difficult to say whether injuries are climbing in spite of better products, but one thing you can say is injuries are not declining in spite of better products.
Halstead is not alone in his skepticism. The Institute of Medicine conducted a study funded by the NFL that said helmets aren't the end-all be-all for protection. In a 2013 report they published, quote, "The committee finds limited evidence that current helmet designs reduce the risk of sports-related concussion."
There are complications from football that sometimes children die, no doubt about it. But the frank, catastrophic, life-threatening, life-ending event on the football field from a head impact does not occur.
Helmets are designed and certified to prevent devastating blunt force traumas, but any impact to the helmet or other parts of the body can cause the brain itself to move around, resulting in a concussion, regardless of what shell is being worn.
I have a son. He's chosen not to play football, but if he did, I'd be far more concerned about his playing technique, how his coach teaches him, how he reacts to a perceived injury and whether he reports it, than whether he's wearing a 3-star or a 5-star helmet.
Star ratings will tell you which helmets best manage certain impacts, but they can't tell you which ones prevent concussions. No test can.
So yeah, the piece of equipment is important, but it's not the answer.
The big takeaway from this is that the risk is inherent to contact sports. Just like a 5-star crash test rated car, a 5-star helmet rating says that this model did well in lab testing. But in real life, even a fancy car can get into a bad crash. And in football, even a 5-star helmet can protect your head from concussions. Tomorrow night, just before 6, you'll learn more about the game-changing consequences of continuing to play. And for more information on the 8 local high schools' helmet ratings, just go to our website and click on this story. From the studio, Tricia Hart, News Center 16.